Hey, all right. So I'm going to try to be brief with this because I got a client after this. I actually put a little alarm on so I don't run over. If you follow me on Facebook, you might have seen last week I created a post around this topic of growing our roots. And I wanted to come live and go a little deeper with it because for me, growing our roots and the way we think of how we create results is extremely important. This concept of growing our roots and focusing on what's happening in the unseen realms, as I like to call it, underneath, behind a curtain, really has a deeply powerful impact, both on increasing your income as well as creating consistent, sustainable results and money that is going to feel really good to you. So, as I stated in this post, when we think of a tree grows in basically two directions. It grows below the ground in terms of its roots, and it grows above ground. But most of us know that the strongest trees have roots as big or even bigger than they have branches up above. And the stronger the roots, the stronger the tree. We had a pine tree a couple of years ago, beautiful pine tree in our yard. And I really loved it because it was actually hiding a road that's like a couple houses away. And then we had a big windstorm, and literally the pine tree just toppled over, um, resting on our house. And when we had the arborist come over, there was no way to save the tree. And basically, the tree had grown up, but the root bulb had never fully developed. And so all it took was, I guess we got lucky that it hadn't happened before, but the tree got big enough that the wind just toppled it over. And this is what we don't want to see happen in our work, in our career, in our business. The hidden roots have to grow first, and they grow first in the dark. Just as your results come from the work you do behind the scenes, your results come from the work you do in the depths of your own being as well. This is the thing that most of us don't get, is that 80% of the results that you create actually are created underneath, where the eyes can't see them. It's the work that you do in the shadow that creates all the results that show up in the light. By the time we see the smallest little sprout, the smallest little green shoot show up from the ground, we can expect that little seed has like a massive tangles of roots already, growing wide, growing deep below, anchoring into the ground so that it is a strong foundation for whatever is about to grow, and for the tree to feel, essentially, to be safe to ascend. It's just like my pine tree. My pine tree in the end was never safe to get big. It was never safe for that pine tree to grow and to continue to ascend. What we want to create with our results, with our income, with our businesses, is that the foundation, which, by the way, you are the foundation of everything you create. But the foundation is so strong that it is safe to grow. The capacity is so wide that it is safe to grow. So results are created first in the dark, in the quiet, in the inside, and then they ripple out into the outer world. Oftentimes, when a potential client comes to see me, gets on a call with me, one of the patterns I see a lot is people who've literally started to create results without these roots. So Maybe they've had some success, but now the tree's toppling over. They literally can't hold their growth. Or maybe they haven't created results and it's the same cause. The cause is that there's not enough roots, not enough foundation to hold results. So if you find that your results are too small for the amount of work you're putting out there, there's something in your neurology, there's something in the roots, there's something in the work that you're doing behind the scene and in the depth that's missing. Or if you've created results but you can't sustain them, you can't replicate them, there's something missing in the roots, in the neurology, in the background, in the shadow. If you have a super successful business but you're burnt out, you're wanting to burn the whole damn thing to the ground, more than likely you got lucky and you built this business without having really anchored the deep underneath work, the roots, the foundation, so that you had the capacity to hold this without it toppling you over. So as we rewire our nervous system and we recalibrate our brain, our identity, our vitality and energy level, we're literally becoming a match for what we want. We're doing this work internally where no one can see it, so that we can not only create the results we want, but we have the capacity to hold them and to thrive in them. So when we do that inner work in the depth, in the shadows, underground, and we're essentially recalibrating and expanding our capacity, we're expanding our capacity to be seen in our authority and in our expertise. We're expanding our capacity to show up powerfully and consistently and be unwavering in our conviction and in our confidence. We're increasing our capacity to do the hard stuff, to keep showing up even when we have a setback, even when something we're doing didn't quite work out. We're increasing our capacity also finally to create and receive the results we desire without them feeling like too much, or without us having to sacrifice or sabotage our own joy, our own lives, our own families to create them. So this is the main point of this live, is that growth in the hidden realms comes first. And the one thing I want to add to this is that this is also true for your results. Meaning, even like, let's say you're doing all the stuff, but you're not seeing any results. What I want you to really take in here is that your results are in the process of coming to fruition. They're in the process of taking form, of materializing. They're on their way to you. But they're the roots. They're literally growing in the underneath, in the hidden realms. And your big job, our big job, when we are in the process of moving towards a goal, is to essentially stay anchored in trust, stay anchored in the knowing that what we are doing is working, that our results are on their way. And we have to literally keep moving, keep taking action, keep heading in the right direction, regardless of whether we see results, because we know that the roots are being built through our actions, and that soon enough, the little shoot is going to pop up. And then after that, there'll be a tree, and then it'll be fruits. Essentially, we're building momentum. And we're staying anchored in that knowing until you start to see the results. Too many of us believe that if the results are not showing up as quickly as we would like, then it's not working. But that's actually false. It is working. It's working underneath the surface where you can't see it. And whenever you believe that it's not working, you start to bring in doubt, you start to bring in procrastination, you start to pivot, you start to take your foot off the gas. And basically, what you're doing is you're no longer watering the seed that was about to sprout. My dog is like basically sleeping and snoring super loudly. It's like the louder I talk, the louder she snores, which is funny. Anyway, so when you don't remember and realize that your results are actually in the process of being created, that just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they're not on their way to you, and you start to doubt yourself, you start to procrastinate, you start to freeze, you start to hide, you start to take your foot off the gas, you start to pivot and do something else and shift direction, what you're doing is you're literally no longer watering a seed that was about to bear fruits, that was about to sprout. I believe that 90% of failures are actually a failure of faith. And they're a failure to keep going, essentially. They're a failure of faith, and they're a failure of action. They're a failure to keep going. So we all must start with the expansion, the rewiring, the increased capacity of our own neurology. And then it's that expansion that starts to go with the metaphor of the tree that starts to ripple out into the world, into the tree, into the seen realm. And it starts to be mirrored and materialized in the outside world where you can see them, where you can experience them, where you can enjoy them. It's when you do the neurological work internally, then that starts to ripple out into your strategy. It starts to ripple out into your ability to show up powerfully with conviction, with calm, with confidence. And that all starts to ripple out into results that you create and that you have the capacity to hold long term. So if you notice that in your outer life, in your business, in your career, even in your wealth, in your income, that your results are lacking, I want you to pause for a moment and drop this idea that you automatically have to try harder out there. And I want you to ask yourself, where do your own roots need to expand? Like, where do you need to anchor clarity and confidence? Where do you need to increase your own capacity? Where are you holding yourself back? Are you playing small? Are you anchored in self-doubt because either you're afraid or because you don't feel ready or worthy? Essentially, like, where are the roots lacking? And that is why the results are not what you want them to be. You will never be able to achieve or hold more than your own capacity allows, than your own roots allow. A small container can hold a small amount. A much bigger container can receive and hold a whole lot more. And so to create, to receive big in a way that's sustainable, in a way that's satisfying to you, you literally have to rewire your own roots. And you do that by expanding your nervous system, especially the capacity of your nervous system, but also your nervous system's ability to feel safe being seen, to feel safe being claiming yourself as an expert and authority, to feel safe being yourself and being self-expressed, like all those things. So you're increasing your nervous system capacity. You're rewiring your brain and training your brain to essentially normalize the results you want and to start looking for evidence that the results you want are actually possible and on their way. And then you start to do the work of around your identity and your energy level, your vitality level, so that it doesn't feel like a shit ton to hold that next level. It's only when you become a bigger container, a bigger version of yourself, a version of you that is a match for the life and the business, the career, the income, the results you desire, and that you're working towards. It's only then that you actually start to see them in the outer world, and you start to experience them, and you start to be able to receive, have them, hold them. That's when you start to be able to achieve what you desire without doubting yourself, without stressing, without struggling, without sabotaging yourself, or without paying too high of a cost for it. Because there are people out there who actually succeed tremendously without doing all this work, but they pay for it. They believe that they have to give up themselves and their lives to achieve it. And in the end, they have all this stuff, but it's hollow. They're not satisfied with it. This is not what we're talking about here. Quantity without quality is worthless. So what I want you to know is that feeling deeply nourished by your life, by your work, both emotionally, spiritually, and financially, is not just a potential. It's not just a possibility. It's a right. And this work, this neurological work, to some degree, is a rebellion. It's a revolution. It's a way of saying to the collective that I'm going to be who I was born to be. And I'm going to break all the fucking rules to get there. I'm going to do it my way. Feeling deeply nourished by your life, by your work, by the money you bring in, is not just a potential or possibility. It is a right. But it starts in the hidden realms. If not, you play the collective game rather than playing your own game. And if not, you either sacrifice too much on the way there, or you sabotage yourself because something in you does not want to sacrifice what matters most to you. That's the truth. You're either going to get there and you're not going to love your life if you don't do this work, or you're not going to get there because something in you refuses to sacrifice yourself for a buck, for authority, for visibility, for a promotion, whatever. In your depth, in your core, you are a mountain. You are a mountain. Or maybe I should say you are a 3,000-year-old oak. And I would love to grow some deep roots with you and make you unshakable. Roots of clarity, roots of capacity, roots of certainty, roots of calm confidence in yourself, in the work you do, in the worth of the work you do. And it is these roots that will create some powerful ripples in your life, in your work, and by extension, extraordinary results. So if you want to expand your income, you have to expand who you are being first. And then you have to also expand your strategy. And that's kind of how it goes. It's like first you do the neurological brain, energy, identity work. Then you shift your strategy to be in real alignment with the results you want. And then the results start coming in because you have not only created some really deep roots, but you're watering the seed and nourishing the seed in the right way. And then the tree grows and the fruits show up. In the end, and this was true for me, I wanted to know what I was capable of. Wouldn't you love to find out how bold, how big, how powerful, how tenacious, how self-expressed, how fearless you can really be when you shift all the shit out of the way, both the internal shit and the external shit. That's what I want for you. That's what I wanted for me. That's what I want still for me. I'm always moving into like, what else? What else can I do? Who else can I be? How much bigger can I get? Which is kind of funny because you don't know this, but I'm 4'8" and I weigh like, I don't know, 85 pounds. So I'm actually really tiny, but I don't feel tiny in here. And that's what matters. So if you want to unlock your peace, unlock you, unlock your execution, your momentum, your growth, and of course, your income in partnership with your nervous system, with your brain, then I would love to invite you in my Luminescence program. And I'm opening 3 to 4 spots in that. It's a one-on-one experience with me. And then when I have these 3 or 4, I will just close enrollment. That might be in 3 weeks from now. That might be in 3 months from now. We will see. Life gets to decide how quickly results show. My job, as I said, is to anchor and trust, to do the work in the hidden realm so I don't start to doubt myself and I don't start to create resistance and friction where there's no need for them to be. And I keep moving and I keep going and I keep showing up from this place of calm confidence. For those of you who don't know me, by the way, I'm Ilse. For the last 20 years, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist for leaders, essentially helping them rewire themselves, their work, their business, career for more of everything they desire. And in Luminescence, we mix neurology, identity, strategy with maybe a little bit of energy so that you have the right amount of capacity to hold what you want. We mix all of that to shift your current set point and to create something completely new in you, completely new in your life, completely new in your leadership, and of course, completely new in your income. My wish for you is that you have that deep sense of calm, clarity, and confidence so that you can execute and implement the plan with ease, without overcomplicating the shit out of it, without feeling drained, overwhelmed, exhausted. And because you're able to show up both powerfully but easefully, you are able to create consistent results, enjoyable growth, and what I call deeply supportive money, the kind of money that does not come at a cost. So in Luminescence, we're going to create a super simple custom campaign that's tailor-made for you. And that's going to include having a few activities and practices that you can focus on every day to move the needle, because the brain needs a simple plan to stop spinning. The brain needs clarity, literally, to start to look for evidence that it's working and to start to recalibrate to the results you want. And your nervous system actually needs to feel safe. It needs to feel safe. It needs to feel clear. It needs to feel like you have the capacity to hold and do what you want to do. So it doesn't go into freeze or resistance or overwhelm and starts to contract and shut down. So we're going to create a really simple custom roadmap. And you're going to know exactly what to do, removing all the extra shit you're doing that's not creating result and draining you. And then I'm going to teach you how to hack your brain, how to hack your nervous system, your energy level, and your daily routine so that you never doubt yourself. You never procrastinate. You never stay stuck in that sense of overwhelm and freeze. You never get stuck in perfectionism and start to overcomplicate the whole thing or start to hide and sabotage your progress. You never do that stuff again. I'm going to give you the key that unlocks you so that you can be the leader you know you were meant to be, and you can show up powerfully day in and day out and essentially create the results you want. Rather, I'm going to show you how to become your own ally, your own partner in achieving your goal, rather than actually being a saboteur in the process. If this speaks to you, then let's have a free enrollment conversation. 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to tell you about the program. I'm going to answer your questions. We're going to make sure it's a fit for you. And if it isn't, then we're going to figure out a way to work together in a way that best fits your needs and your goals. So if this calls to you, I did good. My alarm's about to go off, but it hasn't gone off yet. If this feels exciting and you want to explore this, then click the link in the description of this video and let's have a chat. And then we'll see where we go with it. All right. Mwah. Sending you love. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will talk to you soon. I'm running late on my nervous system forecast, my energy forecast. And I'm gonna try to have that out to you on Thursday. I believe Thursday is the Lion's Gate, 8/8, so it would be kind of appropriate. But I make no promise because I've got a busy week. But that's my aim. That's what I'm gonna try. All right, guys. Mwah.